Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I am recording a pick a card where we are going to ask the spirit guides and higher selves of the collective for each group or pile to bring us in some guidance for the current situation of the members of that group. So group 1 is represented by the Light Seers Tarot deck. If you are drawn to the Spirit Song Tarot deck, your group is pile 2. And if you are drawn to the Unfolding Path Tarot deck, your group is pile 3. And I'll be starting off each reading with the assigned deck and might bring in some other decks too, depending on where Spirit leads me for each reading. And if you are noticing a little bit of a rasp or a croak in my voice, I have been out sick for the last week. I'm feeling a lot better, but definitely my voice still sounds a little shabby, so please forgive me. Take your time, pause the video if you need to tune into which group is calling you and has messages for you from your spirit guides or higher self, and I'll see you at your reading. Hello pile 2, welcome to your video, and this is your pile, your reading, if you chose the Spirit Song Tarot deck. Spirit guides and higher selves of pile 2. Spirit guides, tap me into the energy of pile 2, the Spirit Song pile. What guidance does pile 2 need for their current situation? What do they need to hear right now? What do they need to know right now? What messages can we bring through for pile 2? This is the Death card in this deck. Transformation, Transition, Liberation, the 13th Major Arcana, and that did come out in reverse. I'm going to leave it upright just to make sure that you can see the image on it clearly, but that did come out in reverse. Giving me the energy of not so much you actively resisting a transformation that you're undergoing, but feeling some stumbling in the process of it. Let's see what else comes through. 9 of Pentacles, 9 of Crystals, security and abundance. Wish come true, I'm hearing. The 9 of Pentacles and 9 of Cups are often wish fulfillment cards. Security is standing out here. We have liberation and security, which are often seen as opposing forces, but the real magic of life and of happiness happens when you are able to align with both. When the choices you make are conducive to a life where you feel freedom and safety, security, stability at the same time. That is the greenest of flags for your own choices and also for relationships where you feel free to be yourself and safe in doing so, and feel the stability that that freedom and support gives you. And that often goes hand in hand with an abundance of love. And we have this specifically in the 9 of Pentacles, so that really does speak to a strong foundation, the earth element, this being solid and real, this combination of liberation and security unlocking this abundance of whether it's connection, resources, a feeling of abundance and having enough in your life. Let's see what else comes through. Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Crystals, comfort and prosperity. It's standing out to me how cute this particular Queen of Pentacles is. Many people have probably described hedgehogs as majestic ironically, but this one gets the crown for sure. And speaking to another dimension with the crystals, the earth element, the pentacles, of comfort and prosperity. There's actually an encouragement to allow yourself to spread out and take up space and relax in the circumstances that you find yourself in upon this transformation and liberation. What I'm getting here is that the transformation you are going through is actually in relationships or in work, allowing you to feel more safety, either in your workspace, in the work you are doing, or in your relationships and your personal life, or potentially for some of you both. A lot more security and safety than you have felt before, a lot less like you're always watching your step to test the floorboards beneath you, a lot more freedom to potentially maybe be unfiltered or uncentered, kind of going from a transition from walking on eggshells in order to be treated safely by people around you in the past, which is not real safety at all, to the safety of freedom, the comfort and prosperity of being able to relax and spread out and take up space and be yourself in your environs. There's a message coming through with the Nine of Crystals, the Nine of Pentacles being represented by this spider, to, as you go through this transition, just watch non-judgmentally your own psyche for any parts of you that are potentially so suspicious of this change that you might take on more of the manipulative aspects of the spider totem. There are many aspects of the spider totem, and that's only one of them. It's a mix of, light and shadow attributes as always. And one of them is, one of the really key, strong shadow elements of spider energy is control. Seeking control through manipulation, through weaving a web behind people's backs, through trying to manipulate people without them knowing. And that control is something we seek when we don't have real safety. So we had the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles coming out upright, which indicates that this transition that you're going through is leading you into real safety. But with the Death card having come out in reverse, that indicated those stumbling blocks in that transition. And one of those might be that it's completely natural and normal to feel some distrust and some suspicion as you go through that type of change. And that's not something to rush yourself through. It is something to witness yourself through, so that if you notice yourself maybe feeling a little triggered, or feeling like these urges or impulses or flare-ups of controlling behaviors or anxious thoughts that might have you getting caught in webs in your own mind, you can take steps to soothe those anxieties, soothe those fears, and step into and drop into reality, and take the time to take some deep breaths and really feel into whether that reaction to a potential threat is in fact warranted, whether there is in fact a threat in your current situation. And if so, what is a really conscious way to respond to it that you can get behind rather than get swept away in, get all caught and tangled up in. There's a very unassuming, non-threatening energy with this Queen of Pentacles, this hedgehog. It's very like just going about your daily business, going about your daily life energy. That is this perfect contrast to that shadow energy of getting swept up and caught up and tangled up in the webs of anxious, fear-based thoughts. So it's kind of like, get your feet on the ground. These four-legged creatures have their belly low to the ground and have all four limbs on the ground, not just two of them. So there's this deep rootedness in reality, in tangible present moment earth. And it allows them to be very matter-of-fact and roll with the punches, is what I'm getting. And that's an energy that is available to you and as a medicine to any of that anxiety that might flare up. If you find yourself getting caught in maybe obsessive thoughts, especially about, oh, can I trust this change in my life? Is there something I need to do differently? Maybe continue about the daily routines that serve you well. Continue checking off your tasks and do so really mindfully, and watch your breathing and watch your thoughts and keep kind of bringing them back to the present moment if they start to get caught up again in that Nine of Pentacles. And there's a sense of the earth just continues turning, and you tap back into that and you go, oh, this change happened for me and nothing blew up. The world didn't stop turning. My life didn't end. I took another step onto this foreign ground and it didn't fall out from underneath me. And this very matter-of-fact revelation or epiphany that's mind-blowing precisely because it's so not earth-shaking. And there's just this falling away of the veil of... It's interesting, they're giving me a different metaphor than a cocoon where you're gestating inside the cocoon. It's more like this veil of beliefs that were instilled in you by unsafe circumstances getting to fall away in light of changed circumstances, and it being so mind-blowing about it being like, oh, this was here all along. This reality was here all along. Six of Swords, Six of Feathers, transition and insight. This definitely speaks to leaving behind and flying away from negative circumstances. I'm hearing that you're well shot of some past relationships and circumstances, maybe some past workplaces for some of you. I'm definitely getting from spirit guides, quitting was the right move. Quitting was a good thing. So some of you may have been looking for some reassurance that you did the right thing with those stumbling blocks that we were talking about, and you definitely did. We have this dragonfly flying into the sun here, and their wings sparkling, and I'm really getting so much joy for you from that. And we have the keyword in the sight as well with this particular Six of Swords, showing that this change of circumstances is going to allow you to see much clearer. The way that unsafe circumstances jacks up and agitates our nervous systems makes it a lot harder to see things clearly. Yes, there are certain moments where adrenaline sharpens the senses and makes them keener, but when you carry that low-level stress over a long time, or potentially high-level stress over a long time, it wears so much on the system that some of you may have experienced, you know, those feelings of sort of jumping at shadows or seeing every person you encounter as a threat, regardless of the evidence for or against that. And this groundedness really sets you up for sharp insight with ease, where you don't have to try so hard to separate real from not real, because it emerges very naturally. And I think that's part of why you're being guided towards mindfulness. Reality and truth always emerge, always surface. All that you have to do to see reality and see the truth is simply not resist them, simply allow them to come to your awareness, ask them to come to your awareness. You don't need to go seeking and finding them, and that brings us back to that control aspect. You don't need to go on this sort of search and destroy mission to find out what's true. You simply need to stand back and allow reality to present itself to you, and hold a certain openness and acceptingness of whatever arises from that. Wow, 10 of Wands, 10 of Acorns, responsibility and dedication. We have the very hardworking mule, I believe, on this card. Responsibility and dedication. So we have this as an icon of setting down your burdens. Yeah, leaving that Six of Swords. That Six of Swords is a card of leaving, and leaving behind circumstances and mindsets from unsafety, from hypervigilance, is allowing you to lay down your burdens. Responsibility and dedication. I'm getting from your spirit guides a round of applause. They're saying it wasn't easy for you to get through and survive the circumstances you used to be in, and it also was not easy for you to leave them behind, and for you to abandon them and set sail to a new life. And they're really applauding you for taking responsibility for your own life, taking action, and having the commitment to follow those actions through to the end, from one shore to the distant shore. And we have the sunlight again even stronger in this card than it is in the Six of Swords behind the dragonfly. There's a real warmth emanating from this new land that you are metaphorically discovering. And it is this sensation of thawing in that warmth that leads to that being able to spread out and relax that we were talking about before, and really feel all 10 toes on the ground, in the sand metaphorically, and really feel your consciousness spreading out into your body as it becomes unconstricted. And your body, your nervous system, having this feeling of expansiveness and spreading out in light of this release of constriction and of anxiety and fear. This release of a sense of impending doom, that's what I'm really getting as the heaviness being put down from the Ten of Wands, is a sense of ominousness and impending doom that used to kind of dog your steps, that you are putting down now. And it is a little tough to really believe that you get to do that. And that's where that slight stumbling block energy, that slight, whoa, my feet are unsteady on this new ground and can I really trust this energy comes in. And yet, like the sunrise, it is inevitable, this new change, this new shift. And it is winning out and winning you over in terms of earning your trust, because it is as real and inevitable and warm and welcoming as that sunrise. You might feel blinded by the light at first, but you also can't deny the sunrise. You cannot feel it and see it and go, that's fake, that's an illusion. So given time, the sun doesn't rise in an instant, right? There is that one moment where the sun comes over the horizon. That is an instant. But the process of it warming up the land from the cold of the night, warming up the day and getting the day started and getting the circulation moving is not instant. So give yourself time to really feel out your new situation, instead of trying to force anything or rush anything. Now, we are talking about a sunrise as opposed to the spring after the winter. It is one day, one morning, as opposed to it taking potentially several weeks for the thaw to fully set in after the winter. So it may potentially surprise you how quickly your trust is earned, or you feel really grounded in your safety in this situation. We do already have the Nine and Queen of Pentacles here, and this is not distant future energy, this is now. But at the same time, no forcing, no rushing. Let the circumstances prove themselves to you. Let them show themselves to you. You don't have to go hunting for proof either that you can or can't trust this situation. You can simply let it show you what it is. Like Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. So simply open up to that question of what is the reality or the truth here, and let it reveal itself to you. And trust your instincts. Believe it when it reveals itself to you. There's no need to second guess. There's no need to get caught up in webs. We have the Ace of Cups with the tortoise or turtle here. I think it's a sea turtle. Happiness and abundance. Dude, interesting. That came out in reverse, and I'm getting an energetic feeling from that. Yeah, I'm getting an energetic feeling of those parts of you that are feeling distrustful, being closed off from receiving, to an extent that it might even feel in your body or in your energy like an energetic leak, because you can feel yourself getting filled up by your mindfulness, by your self-love, by your present circumstances, by your new situation in work or in relationships that is actually pouring into you and reciprocating. And you might, with those stumbling blocks, you might feel like they fill up your cup, and then the cup gets kind of tipped over by whatever triggers these fears and anxieties for you of, can I really trust this? Is there poison in this cup? And there's a reassurance coming through from your spirit guides that this is temporary, and it's not a setback. It's a normal part of your process of healing and recovery from negative situations to experience these feelings of distrust and suspicion and have them move through you. And if you do that with mindfulness and non-judgmental compassion towards yourself, really witness your process and respond from a calm, grounded place rather than a reactive, judgmental place. And I mean respond to yourself from that calm, grounded place and without judgment. That will allow you to calmly see, I get why I'm maybe rejecting what I actually would really like to receive. Maybe not consciously rejecting it, but unconsciously feeling like it's impossible for my energy to receive it. I get why I'm doing that. And I can calmly turn my cup back upright and set it down and protect it so that it won't be spilled, and I can really see and feel it getting filled up again. And there's a gentle call from your emotional body for you to tune into those fears and tend to them very gently, rather than going, what's wrong with me that I can't let myself receive? What's wrong with me that I spill this cup right after it got filled when I've been begging for it to get filled for years? Tuning into maybe the inner children or inner child behind those fears, or other parts of you, inner teenager, ancestral longings and scars. And really, I'm getting this image of someone putting salve on those scars and really tending to yourself in that gentle, sensitive, tender way. And feeling the stability that creates as well, the self-trust that creates, and how that allows your cup to feel stable at the base and open in the goblet, so that you can receive without the cup being toppled over. I'm getting this image of the cup getting toppled over because it's like this influx. It's like the water gets poured in too fast and knocks the cup off balance, right? And that's normal. It's a normal thing, because your stable ground, what you're used to, is potentially some level of scarcity or starvation, maybe hostile work environments from the past, or maybe neglectful personal relationships, whatever it might be. So if that's your normal, then it does knock you off balance to suddenly have a different reality, even though it's much better. So it just takes a moment to get used to and be very gentle with yourself, and allow yourself to plant roots beneath your goblet, your Ace of Cups, and feel those roots get watered as the cup gets filled, and allow yourself to marvel at it, and allow yourself simultaneously, if you feel the need to be watchful, in the sense of like you're guarding yourself and you're making sure that cup and those new roots don't get poisoned. It's okay. You can be doing both at the same time. You can be watching your own back and marveling in gratitude at this new experience. I put down the deck. Let me shuffle it again. get some more messages. What else? The Chariot, discipline and determination. This, I'm loving these keywords because that is speaking to, again, this very like matter-of-fact, almost plodding through everyday life and watching the world keep turning that I got with the Queen of Pentacles as the hedgehog. We have these two beautiful grounded creatures, animals, just very simply walking forward, stepping forward, one step at a time, one by one, into their new life. And the Chariot speaks to very rapid moving forward movement, the type that you can't really hold back. You can harness those horses on the Chariot, but you can't necessarily put the brakes on. Which is to say, you can take this change as slowly as you want. You don't have to open up quickly and abruptly to anything before you feel truly safe to do so. And we were talking about with the sunrise how there is an inevitability to this, and you don't have to wait any longer energy to this. It's not going to take years or months or weeks. This is happening right now. And the discipline and determination part are coming in with that really gentle determination, that gentle fierceness of staying present, bringing yourself back if you tend to maybe run away or maybe dissociate or panic when you feel changes like this, or when you get triggered into worrying that you might be threatened or that you can't trust something as safe. And just gently calling yourself back over and over again, one step at a time, all 4 feet on the ground, and just simply paying attention and letting things rise up and move through you, and taking the next step and the next breath and the next step and the next breath. Tend to yourself. This is not discipline where you are whipping the horses on the Chariot. This is where you are feeding and watering the horses on the Chariot and watching how that strength returns to them so quickly, and they gain so much speed so naturally, because that is naturally normal for the horses. And that freedom is natural for them. You might surprise yourself at how quickly you start to own your space. But again, there's no rush. Just tend to yourself and watch what happens. 7 of Swords, 7 of Feathers, preparation and resourcefulness. I love the cheetah. And this did come out in reverse. The 7 of Swords is often about being tricked, potentially robbed. Sometimes it's about sort of energy theft. And often what I'm getting here is that this speaks to the caution that was required of you in the past. You really had to watch out for duplicity in the past. And it's taught you valuable skills. It's taught you preparation and resourcefulness. It's taught you to always check your work and always check what people say against what they do. And always notice when people say one thing one day and a different thing the next day, and whether there's any accounting for that on their part, whether there's any reckoning, whether they balance their checkbooks metaphorically or maybe literally. And with it having come out in reverse, there's a real reassurance that that is in the past, and that it's normal for you to still have feelings from that, and to still be on the lookout for that. And there's nothing wrong with being on the lookout for that. And as those feelings arise, let them rise up and pass through, and watch them wash away. And as you check your reality now, notice whether there really is anything sneaking past you at the moment or not. I'm going to put that upside down. We have the sunlight again, and we also have another very fast animal here, the cheetah. We were talking about the energy of the Chariot and that sunrise only taking one morning, there is this really like you getting set free. The cheetahs are a very anxious animal, actually. Some of you may have heard of this. This is something that I heard about many years ago from very cute posts on the internet. The cheetahs just tend towards a very anxious nervous system, and sometimes when they are in conservation programs and in zoos, they actually have emotional support dogs. They have golden retrievers with the cheetahs. And the golden retrievers become the cheetahs. I'm not sure if barometer is the right word, but it's like they check to see whether they should be having a threat reaction to what's going on at the moment by checking to see how the dog is reacting to the circumstance. They check to see, should I actually be scared here? Should I be running away? And if the golden retriever is comfortable, they know that it's okay for them to relax and calm back down. And if the golden retriever is freaking out, then they know it's time to get out of Dodge. So there's this message from your spirit guides that it serves you well to have the speed of the cheetah and of the chariot, to have this ability and willingness to leave, to run, to get out of Dodge when it is damn well time to get out of Dodge. It serves you well to have that capacity and that willingness. Some people screw themselves over to the nth degree by simply not being willing to leave situations. And I'm sure if you have been the person to leave situations, as this pile clearly has, you have witnessed people staying in situations that are to their detriment till their dying day. And you are getting to experience, with the death card here, the death and rebirth of leaving an old life behind and starting a new life while you're still alive. And that's amazing. And something, again, they're coming back to that applause that came out with the 10 of Wands. Your spirit guides are applauding you for this. So it serves you well to have that willingness to leave things behind. There's nothing wrong with continuing to watch any given situation that you're in for red flags. And how wonderful it is, like we were talking about the horses getting food and water, how wonderful it is for the cheetah to get to rest. And how much power actually resides in that wildcat body when it actually gets to rest. And where does that power and that fire, that quick wit, that quick passion, that quick mind with the sword element here, the air element, where does that get to be applied and channeled when it gets to be restored from all of it having to be spent on getting yourself out of the situations that you previously survived and were maybe a victim of? And that is what Spirit is saying your next chapter is finding out what it's like to be rested, what it's like to be replenished, what it's like to have your cup filled, and what it's like to not have your energy robbed and drained by the situations that you're in, and by living in fear, and by living under impending doom or constant threat, whether low level or acute. We have the abundance cards with the 9 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. You get to feel what it's like to not only have your cup filled, but have it filled in a lasting way where you get to save up and store up, like the spider does. And you have transformed your life and liberated yourself, and now you get to see how you yourself transform under these new circumstances, being fed and watered and cared for and sheltered, where you get to rest and feel protected. And maybe like someone has your back. Maybe that's, I think that's a big part of the new thing you're experiencing in your workplace or in your personal relationships, or both, is someone watching out for you, someone having your back. Just like the service dogs with the cheetahs. Also someone that you can look to kind of see, like, should I be responding to this situation like it's a threat? Someone that you can trust enough that they can actually help you with your discernment instead of you always being on your own. Of course, you're always going to check things with your own gut and your own intuition, your own heart and mind at the end of every day. And it's also normal as humans to let other people in on the process of discernment when you have actually built trust with them. That's, like we said earlier, something to be built and earned, not something that happens instantaneously. But when people really are trustworthy, like we talked about with the sunrise, it isn't always a super slow process either. It sometimes can be very quick, and that's okay. And it's a good thing to welcome that new dimension into your life and into your process of discernment. We have the resourcefulness and preparation there. It's okay to have other people be part of those resources that you're drawing on. Yeah, that getting to watch yourself transform is the gift here. It's kind of the core or the groundwork or the heart of this message. King of Cups, harmony and integrity. And that did come out in reverse. Why did that come out in reverse, Spirit? I'm getting this feeling of being swept away by the currents. We have the seahorse here who appears to bob along in the currents. And we were talking about with the Ace of Cups, that feeling of the cup being knocked over by the sudden onpour of water into the cup. So there's this feeling with the King of Cups reversed of you getting kind of swept away by this potentially sudden, with the Chariot and Death reversed, the sudden change in circumstances, and it being normal for you to kind of get your feet under you. But once you do, it is this King and Queen energy. You are at home in your authority, at home in your agency, at home in your rightful place as sovereign in your life, your rightful crown. There's a little bit of a partnership energy too here with the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. So for many of you, there may be a specific person in your personal life or work life who is a key, either is the change, it's a new relationship that is safe for you that you maybe haven't experienced in a while or maybe ever, or it's one major part of the change that's happening. But what else? There's something else here. King of Cups, King of Shells, harmony and integrity. Yeah, it's like harmony. It's like as this tide comes in, the keys of the piano are discordant at first before you kind of find your feet under you or find your way of bobbing and weaving through the tide and find the harmony. When I say that about he's feeling discordant, it's not that what I'm feeling is very much not discord between you and the other person or people at play here. It's that discord internally of you're used to people hitting those notes in your psyche of threat, of danger, risk for abandonment or for betrayal or rejection, risk for some type of, energy vampirism, not safe to let them too close. And so letting these people in at first kind of strikes these chords within you, and as you settle in, they dissolve and make way for harmony. And that's why we have the King of Cups reverse with these other reverse cards, the Death reverse, where you're just in this period of adjustment where it doesn't, it's like when people say what's freaking them out is that whatever the situation is not freaking them out. The fact that it's so easy in this workplace or relationship is exactly what's so hard for you to wrap your head around or wrap your nervous system around and get accustomed to. And that's completely fine. And this is not by any means a permanent state of affairs. This is a very temporary phase, and you're being guided to see yourself through it with mindfulness, compassion, and non-judgment, and really gently, fiercely, with discipline and determination, attending to yourself through it, tending to your basic needs, as well as simply returning to mindfulness and de-escalating and breathing through any of those triggers, those discordant chords that get struck within you. I'm getting with, the Chariot and the Cheetah, like maybe just some somatic work. It doesn't have to be somatic therapy. It can just be giving yourself that feeling in your body of, I have the power to walk away and run away if I need to. I'm going to go take a walk. I'm going to go take a run. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do some stretches and breathe to remind myself, okay, if I do start to feel unsafe, I can move. I can move through it. I can move with it. I can move away from it, whatever is called for. But I'm not at the mercy of anything else here. I can assess the situation and choose to stay. I can assess the situation and choose to leave. I can also, when I get triggered, just take some space so that I can de-escalate and then assess the situation. I don't have to rush myself. I think for some of you, that letting yourself move and take some space is going to be really key to allowing yourself to really be present and be mindful, and all those things we were talking about before with getting grounded and attuning to the present moment so that you can watch reality and unfold and the truth be revealed, and not be responding to past memories as opposed to what is real in front of you. Really move your feet is what I'm hearing someone spirit guide say. Beat feet is what I'm hearing one of the spirit guides say. Move your legs, move your core so that you feel that, get that in your body, that is within your power and that is your right. We have these sovereigns here. That is your right. And we have, the sea turtle that swims great distances. We have the cheetah that runs great distances, the mule that is known for its stamina as a pack animal, a work animal is what I meant to say there, an animal that carries a load. We have the sturdy rhinoceros here, creatures that have that power as well. We have the wings and the death card and the Six of Swords. You can, under your own power, by your own power, stand on your own 2 feet and remove yourself to wherever you need to, whenever you need to. And I think knowing that and really being grounded in that empowerment is what allows us to choose consciously to stay when it actually does serve us to stay, instead of being in like fight or flight or freeze, where it's either compulsory to stay or it's compulsory to have to defend yourself or flee. Give yourself the option to flee. Get that in your body and see whether that is truly what you need or whether you just need a little space so that you can stay. 4 of Cups, soul searching and reevaluation. 4 of Shells. What's that about, Spirit? What is that about? I think this change is going to shed some light on past circumstances you've been in and make you see them in a different light. What's coming through from Spirit and from the stillness and the sunlight in this card of this bird is there are a lot of circumstances you've already done a lot of processing of, and you know how bad they were, and still experiencing a safer, more positive, more nourishing situation is going to throw into really sharp relief exactly how bad they were. And let yourself experience grief for and from that, for your past self, for those situations. Let yourself kind of be washed clean by that grief moving through you. Allow yourself to reevaluate your past and really internalize that you didn't deserve the bad things that happened to you, and that you do deserve better from life and from people and from yourself. We talked before about watching yourself transform, and I think that's hugely in this case watching yourself flower and bloom and bear fruit when you're properly nourished. Watching yourself flower and bloom under these circumstances. where you actually have the sunlight and the water, the elements that you need to thrive. There's so much vibrance in this card at the same time as stillness. It's like this bird is being perfectly still to witness and watch and observe its surroundings, but the plants are buzzing with life from the sunlight. And we have the mollusks that the bird has already eaten and gotten out of their shells. So for me, this is representing you being in an environment where you are well fed and well watered and nourished, and you feel safe in the open air and not like you have to hide, and that really giving you an expansive, objective perspective on parts of yourself and parts of your past in a way that allows you to release and integrate them and really put them in their proper place in the narrative of your life, where they don't have power over you at the same time that they were part of what has made you who you are. It can be tough sometimes in the process of recovery to own how those things have made you what you are without letting them define you and take over and consume how you see yourself, where you only see yourself as this thing that happened to you. You're so much more than that. And I'm really getting here coworkers or new friends or people, family, whatever it is, partnerships, who see that about you without really having to have it explained to them. They see how much more you are than any of those things. They see that you are a whole, and they don't judge the whole of you based on just one of the individual parts. And I get the feeling that that is new for you, where part of these situations you've had in the past has been people projecting judgments on you, maybe projecting their own shadows on you, pigeonholing you into, oh, well, this one thing happened to you, and so this is all you can do, or I see you this way, and so I'm not open to seeing how much more you are capable of. For some of you, I think that does have to do with parents. We did have the Queen and King here, so that could potentially be another dimension, another layer to why those two showed up, is that there's healing from parental relationships here, and reparenting yourself, especially with that upright Queen of Pentacles, and with kind of the energy of turning the King of Cups upright to reestablish integration and harmony. Yeah, that reparenting yourself, I am really getting that with the King of Cups reversed, because that is this interplay between the emotional element of water, of cups, and the masculine sovereign of the king. And so that having this like healthy sovereign relationship with your emotions, instead of either being at the mercy of them like the King of Cups reversed, or being overly controlling like some of the energies of fear that we talked about before, but instead being able to ride the waves. And that's something that you are discovering here. The Emperor, wow, talk about the divine masculine and that sort of refathering yourself energy, focus and stability. And we have another wildcat here. We have this one very clearly kind of on watch for something, kind of either prowling or defending, almost looking startled. This is the fourth major arcana. We have 4 and 4 here, and 4 again. A number of stability and strong foundations. Focus and stability. Yeah, what I'm getting here is this energy emerging. We were talking about watching yourself bloom and how the cheetah changes, the horses change when they get well fed and watered and nourished, and when they get to feel safe and they become strong, not just fast and agile. And I'm really getting this Emperor energy being what emerges from that rest and recuperation. You really getting to feel what it is like to healthily be in control and in charge of your life, instead of in this shadow element of fear-based control that constricts. Instead, this expansive surfing the waves model of authority and sovereignty and agency in your life. really healing the relationship with the masculine is something I'm getting here with that King of Shells reversed and then the Emperor upright, emerging from this transition. For some of you, that might have to do with masculine people in the workplace or in new relationships. And for some of you, it may really be more about reparenting yourself or healing from wounds in past relationships, regardless of who is presently in your life. 8 of Cups reversed. So that speaks to leaving behind disappointing situations from the past, quest and renewal. Yeah, what I'm getting from your spirit guides with that card is like you're really done with those past elements, those past patterns and relationships. They're not coming back. That's what I'm getting from your spirit guides with that. We have the starfish here that regrows its limbs, and that starfish is whole and hale and hearty in this image. Like, you have regrown your limbs, and those wounds are not coming back, those patterns are not coming back, those people are not coming back. They have no more power over you, and you're ready for a new quest now that you've been renewed in that way. Yeah, 3 of Swords, 3 of Feathers, release and recovery. It is a really significant pain or heartbreak that you have overcome, and you have overcome it. Like, you are feeling these stumbling blocks like we talked about from the beginning with Death reversed, but you're not sliding backward, you're not going back. You have released it, you have overcome it. It's not coming back, it can't. And it's not even going to keep haunting you the way that maybe it has in the past. I'm not saying you won't ever have triggers, won't ever have memories resurface, but that's quite different from it really dogging your step on a daily basis and keeping you up at night. And that's not going to be the constant state of affairs anymore. Oh, Queen of Cups. Peace and compassion, Queen of Shells. I'm being told to put this upright. We have these queen elements upright, and they're so peaceful, both of them. We, of course, have the peace as one of the keywords with the Queen of Cups, but this seal or otter and this hedgehog are both radiating peace for me. Yeah, we really have this strengthening of your feminine elements and aspects, your ability and willingness to feel, as we've talked about with calling back to the present on a regular basis and being really mindful, even when it feels plodding, sort of step by step, minute by minute. And really tending to yourself with that nurturing. That's what the Queen of Cups is really representing for me, is how rewarding that tending to yourself, that remothering, reparenting yourself is for you, and how that combined with your new situation is going to allow you to flourish the way the Queen of Cups does, and maybe already is starting to allow that. There's so much rainbow color in this card, and there's this peace to rest and yet also look to the horizons, to a very, what I'm getting with that, a very happy future, a very bright future. And that's really what I'm seeing for you in these cards. This nourishment and peace and safe space to flourish and to really see bright possibilities ahead for you, where in the past you might have had to keep your head down to focus on surviving and not really had the bandwidth to establish much to look forward to, and to really zoom out and see a bigger picture and see yourself in context. When you're grinding to survive day to day like that, it can be pretty hard to zoom out and really try to plan for your big picture. You might even have experienced things where you didn't really think you would have a long future, a thriving future to plan for, and that has changed. And your spirit guides are kind of putting their hand on yours to really set that in for you. That has changed, and you have so much to look forward to now, and you have so much bright potential within you to unlock and really water and feed and nourish and watch unfold. And that potential within you is what's creating those bright possibilities. Watch yourself transform with the Death card. Without expectation or pressure, watch what emerges from the seeds that you've planted now that they get to have the sunlight, the warmth, and the nutrients they need, the plentiful water and abundance that they need to really grow up and germinate and bloom. And watch what they become instead of placing expectations and pressure on, you know, that fear-based control is coming back again as something to avoid. Like, instead of trying to graft your plants into growing a certain way, just watch what they become and hold that marveling, that awe for them, for these parts of yourself as they bloom. And see what they become, see what you become, and rejoice in the options that they give you instead of trying to force them to become certain options. I don't think that's necessarily going to be super hard, but I think there might be moments when expectations placed on you by other people, or this gut ingrained feeling of like, I need to control this, I need to make this something that can be predicted and that I can plan in order for it to really, you know, prove my worth or bring me financial security, etc., etc. Those types of paradigms might flare up. And you're being soothed by your spirit guides in the universe, and also being called to soothe yourself and de-escalate from those types of thoughts, feelings, paradigms, and simply give yourself what you need, meet your needs, and watch yourself bloom, and allow the new people in your life to participate in meeting your needs, and watch yourself and your relationships and your heart bloom, as well as these possibilities for your future. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Pile 2. That is what I have for you today. Spirit is wrapping up the message, and I'm so grateful to have gotten to bring that through for you. I truly hope that this reading has helped, and I look forward to seeing you at the next reading.